Board, you want to call the meeting to order?
Please do.
Okay, great. The meeting has officially been called to order. First item on the agenda is public comments. Angela, is there anything you would like to address the board?
I would. Under the appropriate agenda items, I think the neighborhood would be interested to hearing from Infomart on the age of our infrastructure and if we have a long-term refurbishment plan, considering that there was a major main break yesterday that caused outage to the entire neighborhood. I'm assuming that we moved to an interconnect. I'd like Infomart to address that as well, because there was still repair work happening at 7:30 after pressure was restored. And so which interconnect were we using?
There was no interconnect.
There was no interconnect used?
No.
That's fascinating. And then I'd also be interested in hearing more about water pressure. As everyone knows, it has to stay over 22 PSI, and if it drops below that, there needs to be a boil water notice. And so I'm curious to learn more about if that applies to the plant, to the pipes, how it's measured, and how the minimum PSI can be maintained when such a main line breaks. Because it wasn't like a small break, it was a pretty significant break. So I'm just curious how the pressure was maintained so that we didn't have to enter the boil water notice.
I think we're going to talk about all that stuff later.
Great. Thank you.
And now, or do you want to, are you here for the actual hearing? If you're here during the hearing, you can talk during the hearing.
Yeah, I don't know.
For the actual hearing? Okay. Okay, do you have any comments you would like to address with the board regarding the proposed tax rate? Or you just want to listen in?
I didn't know what to expect.
Okay.
I don't know how to find out any, regarding your budget or driving about, or
So,
didn't know what to expect. I was looking for. Have no.
okay, we can talk about that.
What's on your plan?
Sure. So today's actually levying the tax rate. Last month, the board made the decision on what it was going to publish.
Yes.
So the district published a tax rate that is less than what is actually applied, but they can't go higher. So the district is actually considering levying a tax rate that is a penny lower than what they levied last year. Last year it was 17.5 cents. They're considering 15.
Yeah. I was just patient. What's driving? I mean, you're taking more revenue. So
sure.
Is there available is driving that? How's it?
Well, board, do you all want to just wait until you get to that actual agenda item? Do you want to address?
Yeah, let's just take it when we get there.
Okay, all right, we'll talk about that one.
What's your plan?
Nope,
Okay.
understand. All right, thank you, Mr. Clark. All right, agenda item 2 is review and approve the minutes of the September 18th Board of Directors meeting. Board, those were circulated last week and out. We did not get any questions or comments prior to today's meeting. If you have any, please let us know. If there aren't, get the motion.
Motion.
I got a motion in a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda item 3 is conduct a public hearing regarding the adoption of the district's 2020 tax rate. We did get confirmation from the tax assessor collector that the mailers were sent out. I know the CL didn't actually publish, so I think I said that wrong just a minute ago. Most of my district published, but that all residents were actually mailed a copy of the notice for the tax rate hearing, which it seems like they actually got to you, Mr. Clark, so that's good. So we will conduct that public hearing. We do have members of the present. Mr. Clark, we've already kind of talked a little bit about yours, but board, if you guys want to address some of his questions on why you are considering the 16.5 tax rate as opposed to being lower, given the increase in assessed values. And Angela, if you would like to address the tax rate. Well.
Finish chewing.
So the question is, why are we doing our rate? What,
I think the main question is, what is the reason for the 16.5% 2023 tax, given the increase valuation? And
Yeah,
where he can get the information.
Revenue's going up 3%. Fine. That doesn't seem unreasonable to me. What you're doing, all inflation.
we do have,
I didn't know what, if there's
Yeah.
a presentation or what was going to happen, but that's kind of what I was.
sure, and the board discussed it a little bit last month, that noting that the values were going up. We wanted to drop it. We've been dropping it
Yeah.
over the past years, and we wanted to continue that. We also have, we live in an aging district, and we have some big repairs and some big improvements that we will be doing. We're looking at drilling a second water well as a backup, doing additional generation, gas generation to our lift stations and to our sewage treatment plant to cover in the event we have a power outage like we did when it froze. So we're trying to do additional work to prevent those type of things in the future from happening. So we also want to maintain a healthy district for these, so we don't have to go back into bonds or issuing bonds going into debt. And so just taking those into account, we thought that we could still achieve our goals while giving some relief to the taxpayer by lowering it. We understand it's a situation where it's good the tax rate's lowered, but it's unfortunate for the taxpayer when their values go up. We can't, of course, we can't control that. Then there's some consideration we have to give in thinking about future tax rates too.
All that balance out to.
Yeah, we, in looking at that, that's what the board felt, that it was, wanted to give some relief. We don't want to go too far over, and we have a very low tax rate anyway, so one of the lowest in the area. So we try to maintain that.
Specific question. Back up of your. Ever since I learned that you had to pump sewage, what you do, don't know what the ramifications. Take care of all your living problems in the resident expected power out.
Exactly, and that's what we're trying to avoid. We were able to last time during the big freeze when we were without. We were able to mitigate all that by having pump trucks come in and take care of it, and brought in, I guess, you can get some temporary generators, but we don't want to rely on it. We've been looking at that situation. If you, right now, portable generators are available, but if everybody needs one, then they're not going to find them. And so that's what we've been working on. We have some on standby right now in the event we had anything happen with the hurricane. That was an expense to the district to have them on standby. But our the gas generators are supposed to be delivered sometime next year. It's been a long process that we've been working on this for a while, and just with the demand, it has taken a while for these to come in. So district is looking at whatever we can to mitigate any potential problems, and then looking for a long-term solution fix by having the gas generators online.
Let's support all that. Worried about.
Yeah, it could be a bad deal.
Yeah.
But we were able to mitigate that with Infomark and their work, and having, in planning for these things, you always try to pump down what you can before you get an inkling of something happening, and you get tanks on standby. You do whatever you can, given what we have. Just decided that we go ahead and spend the extra money, try to have something more of a permanent fix, because nobody wants that to happen.
That potential hold the body water when
Mhm.
just
Yeah, no, that's absolutely.
this program take care of all our risks in that area. More things. All pumps.
I think that's what we've lined up there, Robert, in that.
So we currently have temporary ones in place. So we do have a mobile one that'll go. And we'll have a rental one that's at this room. That one will be delivered, ready. All it has to do is literally plug. So right
But
now,
that's the temporary solution.
right, as the temporary. Right.
What about the,
Permanent ones go
Permanent
on all your lift
solution will
stations.
have lift station. We should have contact.
that's a good
What are you
question.
doing there?
And these are the facilities that MUD 345 is in control of. We have some others that are controlled by another district that benefit part of the district. Anything else there?
I mean, in terms of more about your budget or that event.
It's available at the Wheeler website.
Oh,
It is if you
okay.
click under tax year 20, everything is. We haven't finished 2022. Our budget is there.
It's a very high level, not detailed anymore.
Get to that. Right. So there's a bunch of information. How you want. Go to the bottom. Agenda.
Only we had a website.
Any other questions from the public regarding the hearing on the tax rate? Straightforward. More comments from the public, so we can close the hearing. Agenda item 4 is actually levying the district's 2023 maintenance tax rate and adoption of an order in connection with. As I stated earlier, Wheeler did mail out the notice of the tax legally required. What you included in that notice of the hearing was 16.5 cents tax rate. A couple minutes ago, you can levy something lower, but you cannot levy something higher. And you did talk about this last month, so up to you all whether you discuss this further or if you just want 16.5 cents.
Have any questions or comments?
No, I think we're just limited on how fast that we can increase it again if we needed to. So we've been conservative on lowering it. That's kind of been our philosophy. So I'm comfortable with the 16.
I agree with that.
If we could get a motion to levy a 2023 maintenance tax rate of 16.5 cents and adopt an order stating same.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda item 3 is also in connection with the tax rate. It's approval and execution of an amendment to the district's amended and restated information form. As a reminder, the district information form is a document that is recorded in the real property records of the county, and it provides information for anyone who is buying property in connection with the notice to purchasers. Notice to purchasers has information on the district's ability to issue bonds, how much y'all have issued to date, what the tax rate is, all of that information. Now that we have the district has officially levied its 2023 tax rate, we do need to amend that form and the notice to purchase reflect that new rate. If there are no questions, just need a motion to approve that amendment and then authorize all board members to sign the amendment to the district information form and authorize it in the real property records count.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda item 6 is a notification to residents regarding the levy of the district's 2023 tax rate. Y'all talked about this last month, draft letter that we prepared, which kind of outlines the district's historical tax rate levies, I guess you should say. Since y'all last week, I didn't receive any comments from any board members, so if y'all have any, let me know. If you don't, if you want this to go out, I don't know if you want it to go out in your water bill, or if you want to do a separate mailer. If y'all decide if you don't want to move forward with actually sending a letter to the resident, up to you guys. There is the letter that we sent out is included in your
I don't know if we want to put something in that notice there, just to, for the previous comment that if the rates are going up 3%. That's what, was that the comment that you were making, that the, what was going up 3%?
On your letter, you show average evaluation. So when you put on your new tax rate plus the valuation, which is about almost up to 3.4%.
Okay.
So basically, I mean, my view is you're taking in 3.1 revenue. Yeah, thinking about what you said, you know, like our HOA when they put out their annual rate, they give us some background
Sure.
as to operation. Thinking about what you said, you know, it would be beneficial to have a little double reconciliation
Right.
of how you need. Like I said, I can't get so upset about that.
Sure.
In this day and age, but still, that kind of all of information.
Right.
I'd almost say, give us some background and
Sure.
letter like.
I think 3.5% is about, I mean, I don't know that that was used in determining that rate, but I think that is about what the COI is for this year,
Right.
cost of inflation.
a lot of times you'll do it based
Oh,
off what your
yeah.
budget is.
Yeah.
What you're budgeted for.
And
Yeah,
so,
I didn't do that kind of.
you're right, right.
analysis.
And so, you know, when you consider that all of the hardware and the people and the services that we were paying for probably went up by that amount too. So yeah, it would be, and that would keep it pretty much in line.
But it's a 5.7% drop in that rate.
Right,
In
yeah.
the tax rate,
Yeah.
right?
Everyone.
But the valuations
went
are-
up 10%.
Right, right.
So basically,
Yeah.
the revenue
That's right.
Because we control the tax rate, but we don't control the.
Control how much revenue
I wish it did.
you bring in.
Wish they called me and asked me what they should tax my house on.
Well,
Just kidding.
We also don't have the details of the increase in property value. We just,
Those are estimates.
it's just, we just have an estimate overall number.
I mean, you have the certified value, but that still includes the uncertified content. It's not a final
It's not a
number until all that
reconciled.
stuff is done.
like better
Yeah.
here.
Right, well, that's the certified value and the
Yeah,
district's
that's what I
financial,
figured.
yeah. Or do y'all want to consider a letter, amend the letter to address the reason for why you're levying? We'll use the monies for you guys on.
In a previous letter, we've mentioned some of those, some of the
Projects.
projects that suppose we could. Y'all think?
Keep it high level. I think the second water well, and then we're doing things to make our infrastructure more secure, something like that. And get down into deep.
Okay, y'all want to authorize a board member to the revised letter to go out? Or next water bill?
The next water bill.
Brett.
Right, and Robert, when does that next water bill go out? So we know when we need to have it done.
I'll get the exact date for you. I don't know off the top of my head at the moment. I can pull that.
Okay, all right, then the motion would be to approve a letter to go out to residents regarding the 2020 tax rate, and authorize it to be included in the a copy to be included with the district water bill, and Director Dalton.
Motion.
All right, gotta move by-
Second.
y'all are quiet.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right, thank you. We have received a request to move up agenda item 17, which is district residents. Dominic is here from Classic Messaging to address a couple things with you guys. Aaron reached out to him following last month's meeting about a potential website and what I guess Classic Messaging can do for the district. And I think when we talk about this, we will also briefly talk about the water line break and communication residents.
Dominic, thanks again for coming. So we'll kind of hand it off to you and tell us about the website services offer.
Okay, if you'll give me 1 second, my computer just decided to. Here we go. All right, everybody, I'm Dominic Casciola with Classic Messaging, and we do your emergency communications as well as your non-emergency. I want to start off just to kind of tell you what we're doing now and what y'all would like us to do going further. Right now, we maintain a notification system in which we can send out a voice message, a text message, and an email to the database that we've compiled for you to your customers. We get our list from the operator, and from there, we also provide a web portal for your customers to go in and add more information. This is this right here. In the event that took place yesterday, we actually posted some information on this web portal as a little message that appeared right in this area right here. And this was able to provide more information other than the short messages that can go out with the push notification. And so you'd like me to go ahead and talk about the website or continue with the messaging?
It doesn't matter, whatever route you want to go first.
Okay, so this last week we did a test on Thursday of the system, and it just was coincidence that we needed to use it again on Sunday. But as far as the system's concerned, that's great timing because everything is really updated really well. So I'm going to go through the first report here. This is your current database that we hold for the district. We theoretically can reach 97% of the connections with one type of message or another. And down below, this kind of gives you the idea of what kind of information we're holding. SMS, text messaging, cell phone numbers, emails, and phones. Okay? And so when we sent out the messages, we were attempting to contact 2,788 destinations when we did each broadcast. Wednesday, before we did the test, this was the database that you were looking at. And you'll see that the throughput level is roughly the same, but we did get about 35 new entries to the system after the test and after the first emergency broadcast. What we did is we had so many come in on Sunday, we updated the database, and then the subsequent broadcasts were a little bit larger because we added those numbers in. And so this was Wednesday's report, and then the only difference is just the SMS text messaging increased by 15 to 430. Now, what I don't know at this point is how many people actually updated their data that didn't change the totals that we collect. So as far as the database that we're holding, this is the opt-in response report. And currently, as of the 15th, you're up to 28.48%. That means that 28% of your customers either answered the mailer or went to the web portal. That doesn't mean you're only contacting 28% of your district. You're theoretically contacting 97%. But there are some failure deliveries when that go out, primarily the phone numbers. And that means those phone numbers don't exist, or they're bad, or they just weren't on at the time. And so this kind of gives you a breakdown of how they answered, and mostly it's coming in on the website right now. And then previous to that, on Wednesday, you were at 27%. So it did go up 1% between the last couple of events. And it will continue to go up over time as people get used to it.
And can you clarify, Dominic, that the 27%, so in case if there's an emergency, we will contact all 97%, correct?
Yes, this is just the marketing plan program that
if it's
collected the information.
Non-emergency, we can only reach out to the 28.48%. Is that accurate statement?
Not entirely. We're going to follow the FCC guidelines for phone deliveries. We're going to deliver to the people that has said they will take that non-emergency information for phone deliveries. For SMS deliveries, the carriers require specific opt-in. That means a wet signature or a double opt-in on the system. And so that means we're not allowed, per the carrier, not the FCC, to send those deliveries for a non-emergency. And so that's kind of the way that falls. So
that's for a voice message.
That's
correct. But we can do text and we can do email.
And you can do text is the one that requires specific opt-in entry from the carrier. The opt-in that the FCC requires is for the voice. So the voice is a little bit reduced. The text is going to be 100% because we don't collect it unless they say yes. But the email is just pretty healthy email list. Out of that 1,223 after deduplication, because there's some organizations that have more than one connection, so we take those duplicates out. We sent 1,000 emails out, and they're looked at about 20% immediately, and then as the time goes, a few hours later the next day, you'll have a click rate of around 30%. And so the emails we're allowed to send, and then if they don't like the email, then they opt out. But I believe there was only one opt out of the whole list. So pretty accurate.
So what went out exactly when you contacted? Did you use emails, or was it mainly the text, or what? How did you reach out?
For the test
Yeah.
and for the emergency, we did all three.
Okay.
It's considered emergency use. And so we grabbed all the information that was available and sent it out.
You get the information for the 73% or so that hasn't responded from where?
Infomark has that information on file.
And that was email and telephone, or what?
Email and telephones. And in the delivery, the emails, you can put more information. The text message is very limited. That's why we posted that information on the opt-in website, which will kind of segue into the next subject if you want to talk about the website.
I guess before we do that, are there questions, patient process that we went through yesterday on the?
Or did you all get the
You did.
Got the one about the no longer under restricted water usage?
That was on Thursday.
And I may have gotten
The test one. So I got all of them on multiple lines, but I also went in and double checked and made sure all my information was correct. Initially, it wasn't correct, and I figured that out because my wife got one and I didn't. I'm like, what's going on? So I went back in. I went, oh, the wrong phone number's in. I went in and I updated it. And then after that, I got everything. I got voice and text and consistent with what I had.
So I had a question. So at 9:30, we confirmed that there was a break. When did the text go out on Sunday?
The first one happened at 10.
Oh, okay. So there it's right there. Okay. So and
And they might be off by a few minutes.
no, it's okay. I just was curious. But that's
So
I think that's reasonable.
So just the process, everybody is kind of aware of what happened behind the scenes. And this was our first run through of this whole process. So I became aware that there was an issue. Robert became aware that there were an issue. We were in communication, and Rhett was as well. And we decided that this is an emergency situation and we need to invoke the process. So
Right.
within 30 minutes, Robert and I got on the phone with Dominic, called Dominic, he responded immediately. We got on a conference call within 5 to 10 minutes, and we went through the scenario and we talked through it. We have standard templates of all of the messages. Kind of did that a couple months ago. So we took the template and we made a couple modifications to it. I approved it, Robert approved it, Dominic took it, and then he distributed it. All three mediums. From the time that we approved it to the time the messages started going out was probably all of them probably got delivered within a minute.
Just saying that I think that's pretty good when you consider the event occurs, and then you have to become aware of the event, whether either through a pressure drop or phone calls, whatever, and then you have to find it. You have to, and I'm sure you said you got phone calls about that too. Hey, there's a water leak here. So then you have to identify, okay, here it is. Then you've gathered your information, and all that was done less than 30 minutes. And then you guys took over from there. And it's not 911 emergency where you have operators sitting there waiting for the phone call. A Sunday morning, they'll have to wake up, get to their
Yeah, I
computer,
called
whatever.
Dominic's.
I'm just saying that, and
Yeah,
when all those
I'll-
things considered, I think
I
it's
agree.
pretty reasonable.
I have to say, from my perspective of being involved in it, and this being the first time we've gone through this process, I was pretty pleased at how rapidly we were able to work through everything. Robert and Dominic together, I think it went pretty smoothly, pretty quickly, one step to the next.
You said you did get a text
I did.
Sunday morning. Did you get it? Are you in
But
it?
you said you
Yeah,
didn't.
I got.
Well, I'm not opted into it. So that's why I didn't get one. I didn't expect to get one.
Your email, I
Maybe.
guess, might be.
I'm gonna check too.
Yeah.
We
So
take the information that's given to us when accounts create houses.
Sure.
Like that. That's
I would have to go check the email.
But I did not get any notification about exiting the restrictions that went on Thursday.
There were 3 messages. There was emergency, the first message. The second message was kind of a work in process. The water you might need to flush. You gave some instructions on flushing your.
This was on Sunday.
Yeah,
She's
Yes,
talking
it's on
about the
Sunday.
Thursday one.
She's talking about
I think
the
that was
Thursday
just a
one.
test.
Oh, I'm
When,
sorry.
no, I got the test. I did not get. There was one on Thursday about us not being in water restrictions. Is that what I heard y'all saying?
No, yesterday there were 3 messages.
Okay.
There was the initial
Mhm.
message, then there was kind of intermediate, we're working on the problem. This is how you flush your line. If you have any questions, call it from Mark. Then there was a third message that everything should be fully.
That's the one.
But I heard you say something about Thursday about the no water restriction also. So that was.
There wasn't a no
Okay.
water restriction.
That
I
was
thought
just
one
a-
of y'all said that.
I did too,
Sorry.
yeah.
I didn't say. That was just telling me.
The test
We're
message.
gonna have to check the film.
There was a test message
Mhm.
at the last board meeting. The board had authorized a test, so I'd worked with, tested everything that he had on file, SMS, the voice. So that was just one. All 3 of them.
So just asking you and Mr. Clark, were there any issues with like Sunday, the notifications in your mind?
Thought it worked pretty well.
Okay.
I mean, got all 3. Low water pressure. Went almost 0 and about.
Yeah.
Call in.
Okay. There's always gonna be hiccup. The first time it seemed to work well, so that's good.
So I'll move on to the website idea. So in your agreement, originally we offer the ability to do websites. And here's an example of what we do for another district. I like this one because I like their logo, but we build a basic template where you can put the menus at the top, the picture, and then this is going to be a scrolling message board. And this would be very useful in the event that we have another incident and you need to provide more information. And we can drive everyone to this web page with a very short URL. We'll pick one that probably says hcmud345.org available. And then in the text messages and the email, we're going to relieve the operator from getting a rush of calls of clarifying the situation. We can provide the information. And people live on their mobile phone nowadays, and this is a click away. So if we can post the information here, this is what we can do. And we do this all the time. We did this for 155 when we did the stage 1. And you can see this information would be too much to voice out and to text out. We send it by email. but it's a lot for people to absorb, and they're getting these messages in the course of their life. Over on the right-hand side, obviously, we keep the link where they can go to their opt-in site. The required information that the districts are to put out there, if they have a website that they manage, I really call this a portal. Then they can link to the notice to purchaser, the landowner bill of rights, post their audit, district directory, and then any other advisories they need to put out there. And then there's at the bottom of the page, there's a place to put your legal notices if you need to. So this complies with what the state says you have to do. Nowadays, there is a link to through your site that has all the financial information. So we will never be the place where you can still put the information if you choose, but that won't be the official place to post the information. We would link to it. And so that way, because we're not professional bookkeepers, we're just going to provide you a portal. The reason Classic put this in the program is because of the advent of providing more information to people and the use of the cellular phones where they hit a link and then they go somewhere. And then over time, I'm very leery of what links I click on, but if I'm familiar with this website as a customer, and I've been there several times, and I receive that link on my phone, then I'm likely to hit it. And that would be very useful to put out there. What would be required by the district is to assist in the design of a logo if you want. Otherwise, we can just keep it in text in the beginning, and then authorize any pictures that might want to be loaded. These are just really simple. They're not expensive pictures, but you can go that route if you want to. And that's really it. Do you have any questions?
So who manages this? Who all the information? Who's the point?
So we design it. We have the design already built, and we manage the input of the data.
Content.
The startup time, if we said yes, how long does it take before?
Well, that's a depends question, but the structure of it would be a couple weeks. But as the information comes in, we would probably want to review that. So I would say a month or less, because we would need to have a meeting to make sure that your legal reviews what required is on there. So we can operate pretty quick with a basic web. If you choose to do a logo, I don't think it's necessary right in the beginning, but image is very important to your consumers, and so that might be something that you might want to contract out. We can do that if you want to do that, but we don't create logos, and we can help with the pictures. I took this one. It was one of those checklist items that weren't getting done, and I just said, let me just go out there and get something going, and they liked it. And this is, as far as websites go, your bare bones voice, but we would like to manage it for you because it allows us to post your information quickly and then send your push notifications to this site.
Who are you normally? You're managing it for websites. Who are you normally in contact? There's a variety of it.
That's correct.
Is
Typically,
it a single source that usually all flows through?
okay, so the agenda and meeting notices usually come from the law firm. Sometimes a director. We have a point of contact with this particular MUD, just like what Aaron does for you here. They'll oftentimes at the end of a meeting funnel information that needs to go, and we get it in that manner. And then sometimes from the operator. I see us less involved with the operator on something like this because most of the information is pretty static except for the message.
So it's not necessarily a single point.
It's up to the board, whatever y'all want to set up.
And you said this is obviously computer also is optimized for cell phones?
Well, no, what I mean is in this day and age, the people want more information immediately, and the mechanisms to send out by voice message and by text message are limited. And the text message is really great. It operates even during extreme emergencies, but you can't convey a lot of information. And so that's more of a source of the source delivery. The email that goes out usually mimics this. Let's just say that we want to get some information out and I want to send the broadcast. Most people don't even open up their email for several hours. We can post something on the website and then develop the information. The information on the website can evolve for that notification that went out. If you don't have the landing page information ready for the consumer, as soon as they click, they say, well, there was nothing there, and then they're not going to pay attention to your note.
But my question is it optimized cell phone, or is it really?
The software we use should read nicely on your mobile device.
I'm looking at right now.
Which device do you have? Because my experience is that iPhones, Android behave very differently. That's most has to be optimized. I have an Android. I guess I could. I'm just asking. It's just
Good question.
Yeah, it is a complaint that we will have. So might as well get it out there now.
And that's where we can contract some design for you if you want, if you have specifications that go beyond the basic site.
That you don't. But you guys do the design. We want more design.
It's a template that we've built and we're happy with.
I mean, yeah, on the surface it. All right, that's good.
So I reviewed the agreement and we put the option in there at the beginning. I'll get with Kate if there's any additional paperwork if y'all decide to move forward, but we like to do it because it allows the messages to go out quicker. Y'all talked about today about, hey, what time did all this go out? The things that keep the messages going out quickly are reducing the amount of verbiage that's being scripted, and then getting that alert out, and then posting more on the website as you.
When you started Sunday, you had a message, didn't have all the information, some information, but in the email, text, whatever, and probably very basic information. It would also go here, and then as more information comes on board, more detailed information, this would be updated.
I'm able to update it instantaneously, whereas
sending
a voice broadcast takes about 15 to 20 minutes.
Right. So I guess my question is this updated at the same frequency or level as like your text messaging and emails? Or is this just something that gets updated daily?
We do, it's incumbent that there's a requirement to post something on the website. You're going to drive everybody there. So this will be the first place we post. And then we'll do the push notification. But the speed in which we can post a document without me having to type it all out is hey, let's just say that, for instance, if there was a boil water notice in place, I could title this boil water notice in place, put the attachment in there, and push notify. And we've reduced our delivery time from 40 minutes down to 10. Bad example, because I know that sometimes that a lot in the working in the background.
Yeah.
But the point is that there's a document that I can post as opposed to typing 150 words.
Seems to me that's, the reality, it might be a little different than like looking at what happened Sunday. I'm sure that the alert go out before the document is posted because they wouldn't necessarily know what to put into a document. Might want to send out an alert saying, FYI, we're aware of
So right now we have pre-approved messages that 5 or 6 different. We have one for voice, one for text. If we went forward, we would need to add a 4th one for website. So we would have a delivery website, which would probably have a little bit more verbiage, maybe. And we would go through the same process. There's an emergency, we'd get on the phone, the 3 of us, we'd pull up the standard messages, including the website portion, discuss how we need to modify if we need. Dominic would take all 4 of those messages and deploy them. I think you would deploy the web one. That'd be a pretty quick one.
Yeah, during extreme emergencies where public safety is at stake, I'll create a title and post it on the website, and then work on the messages, and then go back and put more information, because there's a time delay to get all these deliveries out. But as long as I have everything, but the key, like I mentioned before, is the typing, the verbiage that goes out. Remember, we're broadcasting to a lot of people at once. And so we have more information in our hands than they do. So what we tell them is important, and it needs to be specific. And so that allows that if there is an official document that comes out, we don't have to recreate it on our. That could take an hour. So
Yeah.
the scripting is the time-consuming part of this. So by having the web portal, that gives us the ability to post documents.
It makes sense to have it all, all that information going through a single source, to the web, to the text, email, rather than less duplication and effort. I
The question I had on this, do it. We have 346 way getting notifications. Water break happened. Is there anyone over in 346 that would need? All commercial, so I don't know if they're active there.
It did impact them. The restaurants had to close.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good question.
I mean, we don't.
I'm saying it
We
probably would be.
need to
Yeah.
get it.
Separate from the
Yes.
notification. Notify them. They share it.
the operators would communicate with one, as they do with operators communicating.
346 is with us.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, it would be in the same instance. Sign up our connection data for the information. Anything that's outside of the phone number, give to Dom.
They call our office. Or is
It's been comment there. Board meeting.
Yeah, I will bring the. All right. Board, and on.
I guess the other, just to kind of round out. So there are other. Provide kind of the regulatory oversight. this particular Classic provides a template and which has all the required document placeholders, but we would need a provide oversight and incremental oversight to make sure that requirements are. So that would go forward with it.
Got it. Talk further, guys. Got that last month's meeting. Well, I guess we're reminded of everything that needs to be included.
So is there any incremental cost? Yes, or
Not on our end. Cost just maybe creating a logo, any type of custom work you would want to do, photos or something. That can get more expensive than the website itself for some districts. But
as far as the setup and the hosting for it, no. We went with any other. There would be incremental costs.
Right.
So, yes, but where do we want? About this votes.
Seems to me that the oversight is kind of a big. All due respect, it seems that relying on our lawyer do the oversight a bit more expensive than.
I don't have a means or look like
I haven't. Cost. I can resend you guys all if they have what the thing when maintenance is probably. But I can guys again and run it, ask around.
so we went with another. With that process.
Well, we send them everything that they're not. I mean, what the website providers do is they pay attention to what they don't have a law firm. They will get the information from us, but as for how the agreement reads, website legally responsible. I'll rely.
Seems like there's two questions. There's, do we want a website, and who do we want if we do want a website? When we first started talking about this a year ago, we didn't have near the community interest in Green Trails as we have now. and know a lot more. But we're sending out flyers all the time, answering questions from the community. Those are the kind of things people like to see on the website. So I think the time has come to have a website, from my opinion. Now, whether I think there's some issues that we got to line out as far as the oversight of. Maybe we're not ready to do that today, but it seems to be the decision. Are we interested in having a website? In my opinion, time has come.
Yeah, I'm certainly in favor of it. Visit those.
You want me to get updated to look at? You know that there will be no.
Classic.
Up front, that would be quite a bit because get all of the. Have to do that for any
Anybody,
website
right.
provider. Going forward,
More
just an
the
hour or two a month, it
Just
shouldn't
the
need too
incremental part, I
much.
think,
No,
is what.
yeah,
so I
no,
don't-
Right.
if that. I'm just my cost.
Right, but we're only talking about a couple of hours.
No, I don't think
Dollars.
significant, but no, I don't think it would be too
Significant
bad. No, I don't think it would be. If y'all want us to, I do have a district that want to release.
Well, that's the other.
I know
yeah, that's the
things
other
I'm supposed to be
question.
looking for,
Do
which
we-
helps y'all.
Do we want to address the? Okay, so do we need to take a vote on?
No, I can just put the board concurred proposals for.
So we already have proposal
Yep.
effectively. Do our due diligence.
Thank you.
on Other options.
Coming.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Dominic.
Dominic.
Very
Appreciate
informative.
Appreciate it.
And I guess is Second Baptist, they're an out-of-district user, but are they getting any notices too? No. Second Baptist?
No,
I wouldn't think, I wouldn't.
Are they a connection?
I mean, they were aware, they sent out text messages about no water yesterday. So,
Yes, I mean, anyone that would receive a water bill from us would be, whether, whatever phone number, whatever email have inputted, that's where it would,
okay.
They have it going elsewhere.
Okay. Right. Or is there a better contact? So,
Yeah,
looking
I mean,
at
of course,
that
they can
also.
go in, opt in, and type in whatever phone number, email that they want to be in addition to what we already.
Okay. Okay.
I can get with Robert outside the meeting and get the information for that particular connection, set of connections. And we could reach out to them just to make sure that they have the right contact information.
Okay. Great.
Dominic?
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
anything else board y'all would like to talk about under agenda item 17? Communication with district residents, which is the mass communication messaging system, and then. All right. Okay, we can move back up to agenda item 7, bookkeeper.
All right, good afternoon. Everybody, you should have the October report in front of you. Moving past the cover page, we start on page 3. We're focusing on the spotlight of the month being your average homestead value. So it gives you 5 years of historical data, and it shows you how that number is calculated. Past that is page 4, the monthly financial summary for your operating fund. Page 5 will show you cash flow activity for the month. We had receipts of about $181,000 and disbursements of 17 checks for your today. We did include the third quarter payroll taxes in the disbursements, and I think that's the only one that's out of the ordinary. Moving on to page 6 is your cash flow report for your operator's account. This displays your August accounts receivables. Pages 7 through 10 is your actual versus budget comparison. The left 3 columns is reporting the month of August, and your right 3 columns is your fiscal year to date of 7 months. Everything's looking pretty good when compared to budget. We're doing a little bit better by $68,000. Next 2 pages show your balance sheet as of August 31st. On page 13, you'll start your sewer treatment plant fund. So this shows your monthly financial summary. Next page is your cash flow report for that fund. There are 8 checks for your approval today. You'll notice that we did void out the 2 CSC checks at the top of the disbursement list, and we did those. Pages 15 and 16 is your actual versus budget comparison for that fund. 17 begins your joint water plant fund with your monthly financial summary. Past that shows your cash flow report. We have 7 checks for your approval today from this fund. The ordinary. 19 and 20 is your actual versus budget comparison for that fund. And then pages 21 and 22 is your investment for profile and your account balance page for all funds. They lock in that third seed issue. Yes. Next, page 23 is your sales tax revenue history. We collected $11,000. Next 2 pages are your is your cash flow forecast updated with your certified values. So we're sitting at 64 months reserve, and that's for you unless you have any questions.
Any questions?
I do. The pay applications, I think, were from the July board meeting. Why were they voided and
The contractor did.
And they were
sent back. Bookkeeper. So.
You had to
we issued a check,
reissue.
send that. I made sure to tell the contractor, make sure you endorse it.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
Got it. Okay.
He did.
I was trying to remember when we did
Like,
that.
what
We didn't
happened?
have anything
Yeah.
last month, so I had to go back through. Okay. Trying to figure that out. I was like, I thought it was a while ago. So.
Yeah, the contractor was like, oh, we need to get paid. And got him. And then
They
did
didn't
not
endorse
it.
them.
Oops.
Did I guess a certain number of days had passed so they endorse them, or just because they were sent back, I guess?
Yeah, they had already been sent back.
Okay,
so
got it. Okay.
we could deposit.
Okay, got it. That was my only question. All right, board, do y'all have any questions for you now? All right, if we get a motion to approve the bookkeeper's report and authorize the payment of the invoices presented.
Motion.
All in favor?
Thank you.
All right, agenda item 8 is an annual housekeeping item. We will defer on that until a Clean Energy report for you. Agenda item 9, another annual housekeeping item. It's your annual review of your order establishing the policy for investment of district funds. This is district's. The Texas Public Funds Investment Act requires the district to annually review this. Schwartz Page reviews it in conjunction with the district's officer. Fully update it. We have a red line of the change so y'all can see that were made. This should be included in your stack. It was just basically on the exhibit to the investment policy that deals with the collateral funds series act that the district agreement that the district. The legal representations have been modified slightly. Some of this is stylistic, and that the district just had last year. Some of it has to deal with the 2023 legislative, the provisions were codified in different states, whereas originally stated those references. That's the. Is there any questions? Get a motion to adopt the resolution stating you performed your annual review, and you are revoking the current investment policy and adopting this. Second.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda item 10, taxes.
Board, if you want to fill out our report. We started the month of September at $97,182 with taxes collected for all years, all that going towards 2022 is $900.39. We had some other income coming in at $400. Total income at $1,349. Last month's disbursements, $1,700 was $6. This month's disbursements is $1,092. Cash balance to $39. Brought 5 checks for your approval today. Your tax attorney and that KR is a correction back to your taxpayer. Next page is your historical. You had $49,087 outstanding at 95% collected. Now at 99.7%. About $2,763 that's outstanding. Final page is calculation. Break down your disbursement. Please let us know if you have any questions.
We could get a motion to approve the tax assessor collector's report and authorize payment of the invoices presented. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda item 11 is the delinquent tax collection attorney's report. We do have a quarterly report for you all today from Purdue, Brandon Fielder, the district delinquent tax collection. This sets forth all of the delinquent taxes to the district's taxes. As you can see, there have been a couple lawsuits that have been filed. Traditionally, the district is the one who actually files the lawsuit, but if the P or something files a lawsuit, which happened in the second one. The first one that is listed has been finalized, and the district did receive payment. That was for taxes. Following section 2, those are all of the 2022 fees that have a base tax greater than 100. Some of them have already been paid in full. There's no action. You have any pretty random questions? Agenda item 12 is the engineer's report.
Good afternoon, board. If you follow along with my one-page engineering report, item 12A, authorized design, bid, and award, construction contract. No new project report. Item 12B, status construction of the generators. No pay estimates to present this month. We're still waiting on the generator delivery. I did reach out to the project manager for W Industries. Generator delivery still anticipated for end of patients, but there was a update on the joint wastewater treatment plant that has been pushed back to. I think last I reported.
So we're able to extend the.
Of course.
Do we have kind of a perpetual option to extend these rentals? General question.
I'm pretty certain that it is kind of a, you have it until you say, hey, I'm not going to need it anymore. I'll double check to be 100% certain on that. And if that's not the case, I'll have them turn it into that monthly ongoing.
So we don't
says
need it.
otherwise.
Yeah, so I'm checking monthly before. That's the latest.
Okay.
Item 12, C and D, none to report on those 2 items. Item 12E, again, the hike and bike trails. The last we talked about last month, Precinct 4 and 346, we're working on the interlocal agreement. I reached out to them last week. in Harris County. I left a voicemail for Mayor Bowman. Not get a return call, but reached out to them. That being it. Item 12F, the new item for this month, requirements for compliance with EPA's new lead and copper rules for water. Earlier this year, we received notice that EPA is steps to identify what all lead and copper pipes are. I think the first step, this is all due to the Flint, Michigan water contamination. So the first step is them to get a service line inventory form, and Costello has no plan that particular, but Infomark is coordinating that. The due date to turn that in is October 20th. And basically they want to know what kind of pipe. Since my understanding is that lead was, right? So this is a development that started early 90s. So there should be no reason that. I'll turn to Robert to.
Yeah, so I mean lead and copper, that the rule change to make it to where they couldn't put that in the ground anymore happened in 1980. Education had died for ongoing projects. They finished doing what they're doing. Nothing beyond anything lead and copper could go in the ground. Since Jason said, this district broke ground in the 90s, so there's no copper lines are in this district. Of course, we'll still do our due diligence. We actually have an engineering firm with this for all the districts. Engineering firms of the district aren't going to take on that they for us. Coordination. Jason may help too with the GIS. What all our lines are made of. Any repairs that we've done, anytime we have repairs, line repairs, that we'll have documentation. What the line size, what. We'll get that sent up to the state, and at that point, all they've had us do start working on this inventory, and then they're on districts who need to do something who have lead and copper in their town, what that's going to be taking care of that. But for this district, I don't anticipate.
Does the GIS system currently have contain any information about the type of pipe or the material pipe's made of?
I will have to ask our department. Exactly on it.
Or we should, if not, whatever it is, we should have the opportunity to update that to reflect what the survey shows, right?
And we'll be able to look at any previous information. Of course, if we're doing a repair on a street, like, hey, this main line on this street is 4 inch. It's reasonable to think that the house is going direction.
Does the survey, or do we have any information in GIS that tells us how old a particular section of pipe is?
It should. It should say how old it was and what it said on the.
It wasn't too
Jason
long
can
ago.
confirm.
It wasn't too long ago. We went back and relined a lot.
That was sewer.
That was sewer?
I think that was sewer.
Yeah.
Or just so y'all know, I don't think you guys touched on this, but it's district lines and private lines. So it's not just how other districts are doing, and I don't know how LJA is doing. But basically they go and look at the box towards. That's how they're trying. That's what y'all are doing? Okay. I assumed as much. I assumed the easiest way, but I didn't know that, and I didn't know.
We're not gonna go dig up.
Yeah.
Look in the meter box and see.
But I'll confirm.
I just think it's want to make sure that whatever new information that paid with
Yeah, we'll connect and fill in any spots that may have missing.
Looked like y'all were using the GIS to be able to isolate.
We were.
So-
That was very helpful
Yeah.
when we got it partially isolated, but still a little bit of flow coming out of that
Yeah.
leak, so we're able to reassess the GIS, find additional routes that we could isolate without
Yeah.
putting people out of water if all possible.
Right.
So
We did
just maybe for people that watch the video or may not understand it, can one of y'all explain what the GIS system is, what it does, and the value of it? We implemented it, what, about 4 years ago, I think?
Longer than
Yeah.
5.
at least 5 years.
I'll say for the operation side of things, when we do have issues like we had on Sunday where there is a break, they can literally sit there at the site, pull it up on their phone, find exactly where the valves are, how the lines run around, so they can immediately say, okay, looking at this, I can shut off ABC valve and it stop the problem. So they'll immediately go out there, start doing that. That doesn't work or doesn't do it fully, they can reassess other options on top. So I mean, it's right there. They don't have to pull out a physical map or anything.
Essentially an online digital blueprint of our entire district, all the water lines, the sizes, connections, everything allows us rapidly. And to repairs or adjustments, not waste a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if we didn't have that, have to have a map on hand, pull that up, and you can't zoom in and
You gotta go.
do all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, all the operators. So this makes coordination much easier because, hey, this is what I'm looking at. Someone who's sitting in an office can pull up the same thing and they can talk through it together.
I didn't have additional information available too, like when the work was done on it or what's size and everything. I mean, they didn't have.
I mean, Jason, you may speak more. I know there's different layers.
Yeah.
There's different
complexity.
layers of what information you can put on there. I don't know to what detail we have, but I just know that some of the level of it has. When was it installed? If
Right.
there's any work orders, how much it cost, things of those.
I remember when we implemented it, was a costly thing to do, but it's worth having, and so that it'll pay for itself.
Right,
you
and
know.
the front end cost is
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah. I guess along those lines, do we do anything? Of course, we televise our lines. Is this one that ruptured? Was it one that would have been televised in our normal 5-year?
Or not too
You only
bad.
televise your super.
Okay.
And on the sewer, the last I remember when Green Trails District Engineer. That's how we report that they.
Yeah.
I remember.
So we're still doing our televising our ongoing 5-year, and it rotating around 5 years, the district?
It's on a schedule.
Yeah.
We can verify.
And Jason, do you want to touch on the district capital improvement? I think
Yes, and I can kind of touch upon what I'd done a 5-year capital study plan. It examines the worst case, how old they are, what schedule of maintenance, what the district needs to set aside, have the money in place, facilities. Something that I share with Kate again, and then you can form. We've done a 5. That was last year.
It was last year. I think
Yes.
it was final. Correctly,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's given to the board for them to kind of look over and examine. Kind of keeping in mind. Not saying they will, but
Right. Well, it also really tells you when stuff was built. And generally constructed and it should have on there. You do either your televising type of when they anticipate storage tanks need to be recoded, or it typically has all of it as what the cost estimate possibly will be, just knowing that that will most likely change if it says 5 years down. But you all do take that capital in here, your operator.
Jason.
No action items in Jason's report. Agenda item 13, the status of the acquisition of the property owned by Second Church. We will discuss that in closed session. Agenda item 14 is the operator's report.
All right, well, if everyone grab the report, turn past the cover page. Want to give some updates on our previous standing action items here. Surge protection. The vendor is estimated November the 10th. That was the same as last month, so no change on. For our well water repair, that CNC actually got an update just this morning that they have started their mobilization, and so they will start delivering equipment there, getting things set up, start pulling the old equipment out, putting our permanent. And so that process actually, originally they told us it was going to be another week from now, so we're starting now, get everything back online. We'll be on interconnect, so there's no loss in water use in the district. Get this repaired, and then once that's done, a rental downhole, we have our final. So turning to our current action items, the first thing is the Harris County Public Health Department. And so if you turn a few pages here in the report, you'll see something, a very colorful flyer with a lot of information. So this was brought to us by Harris County. They identified 345 as a potential district that they would like to come in and do a study with the district as far as taking our raw sewer samples. And so their proposal is to come in, if you see on the second page, see a little picture here at the top left, and it's a refrigerated unit that they would like to install. It's an auto sampler, so it'll take the samples, keep it at the proper temperature. Technicians or lab workers will come collect that sample, take it to the lab for testing. So it all kind of stems from the city of Houston during the COVID-19 outbreak, testing for maybe transferring and things like that. So this is just a continuation, and so they are requesting the board to see if they'd be interested in participating. Harris County did state they will pay for the whole process, out-of-pocket costs for the district, and then any of the data that comes out of it will be by Harris County. Completely up to the district if you wish to participate in that. Of course, an interlocal agreement and everything have to be put into place.
Would disrupt anything that we do?
How did we get picked?
They literally, as far as I know,
They've asked
heard that they.
Are you all recommending your districts taking this program?
I don't have a recommendation on it. There's no, from my personal viewpoint, any reason not to. It's nothing that's going to hinder our normal operation, gathering additional data. It is a very new program. This program in general, they've been doing for a few years, but from BUDS, it's only been less than a year. From what I'm told by them, they have 10 MUDs that have agreed and 4 that are. Of course, we had just received a list with districts that did in partnering with. That number may increase. Last I was told.
Are there any other nearby MUDs, or is this just out there?
Yeah, they had. I can't remember. There was a list, probably about 25 different. At least for Infomark specific, they operate. And have one up on the north side that got a proposal. One that's down actually.
Just wondering if they're trying to do it like one every 10 miles or some things trying to spread it out, or is it just,
No idea.
yeah,
From my understanding, that they're looking at, I think, a certain size, particular,
Yeah.
to get a larger data pool rather than a district that has 200 connections.
Sure.
You know, they're going 700,000, 800,000, et cetera.
Okay.
Completely up to the board. You know, if you want to participate, there is no requirement behind it. It's just they reached out and wanted.
Seems like
If y'all want to move forward
that'd be good.
on what the, since this is,
So the contact James out there, we could definitely reach out about getting him scheduled to the field.
Okay,
things like that.
thank you.
Here real quick, and we'll continue. Okay. All right. So the next item is just a continuation from what we had discussed last month. Leak adjustments. And so I do have a second handout there that has the information. So I tried to reformat it, make it a little bigger, easier to read, and so you'll have leak adjustment information, and I've added historical details on the right as far as their use. And then on the following page, we'll have the proof of repair and a statement up there as far as what they said the repair was for. So, like I said, I tried to reformat a little better, make it easier to read, color coded accordingly. If you'd like, we can go through these one by one. I only have the details up and ask any questions.
Is there anything unusual in these, or anything why we wouldn't do it based on our past policy?
No, this is what I usually do. Work with the customer a lot of times. Try to hear that way. Sewer rates of 40 feet, so that water. 50,000 gallons of water. They're that's that. And that's following what.
And we can, I mean, I have
I'm
my,
good with that.
and if you're like, we can set a, a policy in place for bring it down to tier 1. Customer does have to provide written information on what happened, the proof, like as you've seen pictures that they have. And then if we want to set a dollar amount for if an adjustment would be more than $100, bring it to the board. If not, we can go by the simplify, streamline process.
It looks like two of these are more than $100. Two out of the three.
So the if you look at these, in the third
right?
grouping, the green item would be the actual adjustment. You'd have what the bill currently is,
Okay.
what it would be at the adjusted.
You're saying if it's over $100 on the adjustment.
Right. And I mean, we can set $100, $150, up to the board. I just throwing out a number there.
I'm good with that. You know, if we need to talk about it, and we're going to do it the same way each time. Latitude just to handle it.
a lot of districts who have a village operator can handle it. Proof of their historicals are kind of adjust it back down. Some boards want to. Robert mentioned amount. Not that an adjustment would be like $300, but that would be a pretty big adjustment. So, but that's a board decision on whether you guys want to do that.
Only comment I would make is that I can understand, you're not knowing the first month and maybe the second, but if it goes past the second month, I have a problem with that.
We can definitely set a time frame for.
There has to be a limit on, because we don't want to have a deal where going back 12 months and saying I want an adjustment is like, that's just not right.
Usually, what I just, no more.
Would y'all like to, I can add that in older than 3 months. Can't be consistent.
Can't go back.
Stuck on 2 months there, just people ought to be, I mean,
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, that's my comment.
30 days. So they
So
don't
that's really 1
know
month.
necessarily that June, they don't get their, that is our 30 days. Or decision.
Well, but to that point,
But at 60 days, you'd have to notice it on your. You'd have to take action.
well,
I think.
I mean, if you see your bill jump up,
I mean, I will say this is a bit of information. Of course, during the summertime, the
Yeah.
drought started, everyone's bill jumped up, so they
Right.
might not have been like,
Right.
oh, it's just hotter, I've been watering more. Think nothing of it. And then all of a sudden it keeps going up, and you're like, I haven't changed anything.
Yeah.
So just a possibility why, you know, some of them may go longer than
sure.
you would think. So it's up to the board. I mean, we can always,
You want to
you
make
know, start with 2, move it to 3, start with 3, move it down to 2 later on. You can always adjust.
what y'all want to do?
3 seems reasonable.
Right, all right, 3?
I'm good with that.
We want to say up to like anything more than what? Dollars come forward or something, adjust.
Good with that.
Are most of them under what, 150 or what?
Yeah, most of your. Unless it's.
Yeah.
Commercial issue. Or
$150 to get the folders at.
I'm trying to remember.
I wouldn't hardly see any at $100 truck.
But you're still document them.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so we have all the written, that's why I specified that they had to send in email or written stating, here's my issue, proof that we got it repaired, or they repaired it themselves.
Maybe if it's not too much trouble, maybe just give us a report once a month of here with the adjustment. We at least get this what's going on. Stop them there.
Very nice.
Happy to do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so continuing on compliance side of things for the month, and all the back key samples came back, everything compliant, no all live to report. Our interconnect usage totaling 2,267,000 gallons. Metered and billed for 345, 34.1 million. Metered and billed 5 million. Our accountability is at 80.94%.
What was that? I mean, 1 out of 5 gallons. Did we have a fire somewhere?
So we, myself and our operations team, we have been talking about this because it has, you know, dropped down to lower than normal. At this point, we haven't found anything that is tied to specifically. We are reviewing, we are actively looking with any, obviously, Sunday, which could have been contributing to that. And
keep in mind, the meters out right now. Have a place. All of our.
Okay.
Which leads into the next thing that I did get to update the city Q 17 out, change that sub meter. So we'll have that in, mobilizing our permanent well pump in place. Once everything's in there, we'll be able to do an accurate.
Is there any risk with the work that the city's going to
do? If there's any indication that that may occur, we'll open up the, so there's no stop and serve. We don't anticipate that to be an issue, but we're ready because we'll have someone on site the entire time. And so wastewater treatment and collection, all compliant on that front, nothing of concern. We know the operation had our monthly flushing in the district, changed out 36 meters over a million. Performed 6 leak repairs, 4 levels and sods. We did have a PO4 pump and some CL2 sensors replaced that we repaired on our pump number. On the sanitary side, our standard monthly lab work, 2 CL2 sensors that we had replaced, and an exhaust fan CL2 replaced as well. Customer care at the bottom, delinquent letters, we had 63 went out on the 7th. Tags hung on the 20th and disconnect month. Next dates will be October 6th and the 25th. And if you flip over to the next page, a small amount at the top, we have no write-offs, but we do have one account considered for collections, a total of $31.83. That is the final closeout total. Any deposit had already been applied to. So as far as the report goes, that's all I have for you today.
I have one other question. It's not really, it's been a nuisance in the neighborhood, and that's this people laying this fiber. Not only have been busting everybody's lines, and saw reports of mud districts going out and helping fixing. Are you guys helping out with fixing that stuff, or has there been any communication with this company about what they're doing? And I mean, we know what they're doing, but how they're doing it, I guess.
I'm pretty sure it's probably tax. A lot of times we don't get notified unless the customer.
Right.
And then, document
Okay.
I can tell you they use a lot of different contractors work, and over on the Costa City side of town, none of them have.
Yes, I don't know if
This sounds like a
Takis
class action lawsuit against somebody, but
There already is one.
but
And Takis
it's
is the parent company of Easy Fiber.
but it's
of what?
Easy Fiber is the EZEE Fiber
Easy Fibers
is what's labeled on the trucks in our neighborhood.
Okay.
Takis is the parent company.
Walk
Mr.
away from me, you guys are out there, giant holes.
Yeah. Well,
That's the guy. Cause what?
I guess that's my point, is that I appreciate y'all going out and helping resolve it. I don't feel like we should be paying for it, but you know what? In the end, we're good neighbors.
Hey, I did.
And get enough, I need to follow some kind of
That's, is this something we should track?
Did you want
costs?
Operators.
Or
Y'all
do
have
you
any
guys?
idea how much y'all have backfill?
usually there'll be solar damages, district back charge.
I thought you wanted to.
Okay, I do want to make you aware,
No, we don't
at
have
least
any.
one resident has been told by Easy Fiber that the mud is responsible.
That's
Well, they're
wrong.
lying.
Sure, I just want you to know that that's being said.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's happening all over, but you said there's actually a class action lawsuit that's on the
North side.
on the north against Bacchus, or
I believe it's against that, because I'll find the article and send it to you.
if you don't mind.
There's a place on your
Back charge.
and as of right now, we don't. That's not saying they haven't damaged them. Haven't invoiced and went through that process of.
If nothing else, if for no other reason, if it becomes such a nuisance in the neighborhood that people are up in arms and, kicking and screaming, it might be nice to be able to go back and say, hey, look, here's what we're doing to try to help out, and
So, I mean, anytime we have notification, I'd like, hey, this company did it, we have it. Because I have another district where we're dealing with back charges in the process that we will send a full report to the company every single month. Anything new gets added into that report. So they see the same thing over and over and over from us. I have an ongoing, we send it every month. Here's what we sent it up to 1. Now we have 7. We'll have all the information.
Yeah.
Should we need.
okay.
Do we have any relationship with the mud, like a personal relationship with the mud that covers Windsor Park Lakes? Because they have a gate, so they have the ability to control who comes in, and they're meeting with Easy Tachus at their next meeting, and they have their insurance and their engineer's information, and they've been in much more contact than it sounds like any of our other neighbors, but they have the power of the gate.
They're associated with green trails, water. So,
Might be big.
I think they're Baker
Yeah.
Road.
Okay. Yeah, our firm. I don't.
but
I
they
can
get
ask them. They have.
That
they're
might
having-
be a source of information.
That's very good because some of our other districts are trying to contact us. So thank you.
So yeah,
and Baker Road gets their water from
Yeah.
trails, but they do
Green
share.
Trails Mud.
Yeah.
Just because I know the
People get
neighborhood
real
takes a lot.
confused.
You've got people
Yeah.
get very confused.
We're 345, but they do green trails, and then there are part owner in the sewage plant.
All right.
Oh, and I did want to, Kate, in regards to the mailer in our bills, I got it confirmed that if we have it by the 27th of October, be able to have it up and out with our bills.
Oh, good. Just want to make sure it wasn't tomorrow. or
No,
something.
no.
Okay. 27. That's totally right. We can finish it back. Okay.
So, like I said, that's all I have on the report side of things.
Thank you.
Um,
Oh, did you want to go over this yet? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
say
just
when
good.
you
Yeah.
address the line
Happy to.
breakage.
Yeah, so Sunday morning, obviously I had the main break there on our line heading west out of the water plant. So as we talked about earlier, we received the pressure issue calls around 9 a.m. We had our technician on call, go out there, verify the that's what needs to be done. That's when they go through, pull up the GIS, start isolating the district, or at least isolating the. Of course, we're in communication, Aaron, Rhett, and myself, and also with Dominic to get the alert sent out. So first one, roughly 10 a.m., we got the first 3 isolation valves closed up at 10:30. Checked the leak. The leak had some flow running through it. So we reassessed, adjusted some other valves, making sure as best as possible not to put water off to any residents. Not, thankfully. So then the leak stopped. During this whole time we're out there, we always have an operator at the plant monitoring the plant, checking level of tanks, pressure of the system. And during the process, never did drop below the. So we did get the leak isolated. We had the second message go out from Classic, just touching base on acceleration in their lines, flush their lines, problems, from mark, so we can assess visually. We had our C&D showed up about 1:45 with all the equipment, dug up the area, made the repair, backfilled it. We had the final message go out at 5:30 Classic saying water service restored. Opening the valves up that we had closed, we were flushing in the area as a process, and then fall in to have back to sample.
Haven't gotten.
No, they typically take about 20.
I see. And tell the board where the water was being, the test for the pressure to.
Of course, yeah. So we monitor everything that's going out at the plant. We have an operator there monitoring from when we are alerted through the repair. Or on standby should anything need to be done, any interconnect needs to be open. Things.
And the alerts did work.
So the alerts, because we actually got the calls before any issue at the plant triggered our alerts. Thankfully, we got an early heads up.
Was that my call to you at 9 o'clock?
Very much. So actually, when you called me,
I was going to call you, Alan, but I said no.
I'm available.
Yeah. So when you called me, I immediately called my field lead technician. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're already aware. We have our on call on the way." Someone else beat you to it.
But were the alerts working? I want to make sure. If I hadn't called you, then are the alerts?
Like at the plant,
yes.
The alarms at the, I don't know if they ever went.
No, because we caught it early enough. It never hit the trigger points.
Somebody called in the leak or rang the plant.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have the low level alarm, so if the tank.
I mean, when I called, it was low at the house, and so I mean, I just would have assumed
it was pumping it out on the ground over.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just saying, is there anything else we need to do to make sure that everyone, we got all these backup alerts and alert, just so.
I mean, we're doing everything. We have our preventative maintenance schedule, so they go out there, test that, check it.
Is there anything else we can do to add additional type of call systems? I mean, we've worked on that. We got backups on backups, don't we? Yeah.
I mean, there is another. I mean, I have to check. But it's called fleet monitoring. Log into pressures. Anything that's going on. So like if you do get that call or something. That's something we might.
Yeah.
The alarm. So I could look at an additional level that would.
Because I think we did something that one of the dialers went out or the battery went out, and so we put in backup on the dialers, and so I mean, hopefully we got everything that you can have out there, just so that.
You want to hire someone to sit there 24/7? We can do that. Not very cost effective.
No, that's right. That's right.
But that additional technology that could save us 15 or 20 minutes of urgency. That'd be pretty important.
No. So, up down. I had no idea what my pressure was. That's pretty darn low.
Well,
So,
no, I understand what you're saying. We're not out there. We can only go by what we find out initially, or what we seen was, but we did go ahead and pull back. That's a precautionary.
I mean, as well, drop below 20.
Well, I mean, there's always a possibility. Relatively.
And Robert, you mentioned earlier in the meeting the district wasn't on interconnect. I believe we should be on the interconnect.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as full support interconnect, like if shut off the water to the district and interconnect supporting it. We did not go on that. I mean, the 216 we always have open, and so we are allotted amounts. I mean, that is coming into our system.
Okay. And
So my apologies.
no, that's okay. I just wanted to clarify. And so right now, I know this is the ops report I have here, a little over 8.5. Reminder last month, so last year. So if it gets to a point where the district isn't going to be able to let the attorney,
I spoke with
16.
Yeah, I spoke with our operator out there at the beginning of October. I had a reminder. So at the beginning of October, he did talk with 216 to see about bringing it up as much as they can allow us to,
Right.
to try to reach that if at all possible. And of course, every month we're going to be reassessing.
Right.
So, yeah, I have a calendar reminder
Okay,
going.
good. I just don't want to let that go by the wayside.
Right,
So.
of course.
I had a question back on the pressure monitoring. Is that's regulated by the state, the PSI, and the process, how we measure and
Would it involve getting some additional pressure information at different parts of the district?
Pressure sensors or something? I really don't know. I don't have anything. But I mean, I know that I've seen it.
Yeah.
Of course, I can tap.
Yeah. Right. It could be monitored. Yeah.
Other than that.
Yeah.
Even if you did that, you would still rely on what it reads at the plant, right? So it would just be additional rely on what the state requires you to rely on. So even if it dropped lower at a resident's house or something, not what the district relies on. I want to make that clear.
Also, with our GIS, do we have any other blocks? I mean, we talked about isolating those blocks so we could get 345 back online as soon as possible. So y'all were able to isolate where the leak was by just impacting that part of its system and not the do we have other blocks throughout the system that should we have a leak someplace else that we could isolate different parts so that the other part of the district could remain on while the affected part would not, as opposed to the entire district being impacted?
It all depends.
Exactly, but do we have other blocks around? In other words, with our district, do we have, I'm picking numbers, are there 5 other blocks scattered around that we could turn off just so that you could keep 3/4 of the district on and the 1/4 off that was impacted if there was a breakdown there?
Like I say, it all depends on where the break is.
Yeah.
You have 2 or 3 service lines each whole neighborhood. So if something happens in those in the neighborhood,
sure, right.
If you're inside the neighborhood,
yes,
valves, and that's where your DI valves throughout the whole neighborhood, and we can go in and out.
That's what I'm asking. So we do have that.
We do have it.
Yeah.
But depending on where the break
exactly.
is,
Exactly.
Put out something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
could
we're
be a street that's at the end of the system.
Yes.
So maybe it's only affecting 10, or it's in a different place may affect 35.
So where this break occurred, we were able to isolate it so that 345 could come back on. 346 was impacted.
I'm not sure about 346.
But that's the commercial area.
Yeah,
that,
but I'm saying I don't know exactly what happened over there.
But basically, that's kind of what happened there. So we were able to get ourselves back online because of isolating it.
Yes. Yeah. I think I don't know the 3.
Yes.
Hours.
So from what the technician told me, that he said no one, when they had done the final, when they got the flow to completely stop, At 11:30, that's when the board should be out. I can go back through and reconfirm commercial side or I can dig into those
Yeah,
details.
if you would, please.
Happy to
I'd
do
just
so.
like to know that.
But we were told.
Yeah, at least for our neighborhood, at least for where I am, it was on probably within 2 hours. So yeah.
I had low water pressure, the hour and 50, hour and a half. I started up to where you the toilet or
So who is the operator for 346? You are. Okay, but not you guys.
Not me specifically.
Okay. So it should be able to find out when
Oh,
we
yeah.
came back online.
So I want to kind of go back to the boil water note. So what I'm curious about is, kind of point off of your question a little bit. How do we know where, like, are there certain parts of the system, or you said you measured it? How do we know where we measure pressure? Where does the pressure have to be at 20? Very large system, we have pressure upstream, not downstream. What is the regulation? What is the requirement of where, how frequently parts of your system do you measure, determine water node, the boil water downstream?
Usually we monitor from the plant. Something know that we wouldn't to a boil water notice. Because there's also rules, provisions to the rules that also state that if you 2.5. Other things that we don't want to issue a boil water notice one street in your neighborhood, 2 streets in your neighborhood. You have to notify me how it goes. Ask, we try to do the awesome. That way we pull our back piece. Flush everything. As far as an emergency goes, like y'all had the other day, we will go to the plant first. And the only place that have any sort of gauges tells us what the pressure is. So we use that pressure. Now, like you said, so any.
No, mine was low. Mine was low.
Somebody said they
Low,
didn't
just
have
a little
any water.
longer.
So, I mean, depending on what's going on out there, we're not sure at the time about what we know.
So if you have I understand a boil water notice if you have low pressure or no pressure at the plant, because then you have, real possibilities of contamination that could take a lot to get through the system. But if you've isolated an area by closing off valves, and then you turn the water back on, is it still demand a boil water notice, or is it just flushing? Because that to me is kind of like turning on a garden hose then, where you want to get the bad water out, but it's not, it doesn't seem that it would be.
That's what I'm saying. We have those other things you can do.
Right.
As long as you can flush, rules and regulations that come up there. This happens, it's not the.
Right.
And so if we can flush that area, volume of water that's in.
Right.
Because it's one little section that's like, y'all are okay.
And to flush, you would just go open up the fire hydrant or something.
And we keep logs of all that as well.
And did y'all flush in different parts of the neighborhood?
So, because I know I had received information that some but we're experiencing brown water, so I had
Yeah.
a technician do some spot flushing
Yeah.
in the district, and then once everything was final, then we did the flushing area.
Just the repair area. Okay.
Unless there's any other reports, then we definitely will go out there.
But it seemed to me that there was brown water originally, and then it cleared up, and then there was brown water again the second time, which I take it when the system was turned back on completely. So anything that had gotten in the hole at that time, I assume, is now being flushed around the system.
Well, no, keep in mind, when they call brown water, it's not necessarily blood that's getting flushing out.
Yeah.
Brown water is iron, usually iron magnet, accumulate over time, water line. The water lines are typically, they're used to flowing one.
Yeah.
Water moves. If you've ever looked inside a water line, you actually see that stuff that's accumulated on those pipes, and it's wavy, and it kind of goes with the water flow. Anytime you reverse that, then you're fighting against those.
Okay.
Start having.
Okay.
So most of the time, the brown water call actually.
I'm kind of wondering if, I know we suggested people, we made a suggestion for people to flush their lines in the second right now. Wondering if we need to be more prescriptive, not a suggestion, strong recommendation. I think it was more like a suggestion. I don't know, I'm just listening to everything that I'm hearing here. There could be, if we do all the flushing in the district, there could be that last couple 100 yards or something that wasn't flushed. It's going to get flushed out of there possibly. I don't know how other districts handle that, or what y'all think.
I mean, you can put in that. Told me to do.
Yeah.
About plus 5,000 gallons.
Yeah.
We always. Happen though. In their line. We usually get a flush bill. District line. Then we'll help. They are the rules.
And I mean,
Okay.
and if y'all move forward with the nominate, give more details,
This-
just because we'll have
yeah,
the
this-
capacity to.
I would say the exact same thing. This would be a great topic to post on the website, but have questions about all of this. There were some questions on Facebook about, so this would be a great opportunity to explain, here's the process, here's the regulation. What we do, this is what we.
All right.
Anything else for the operator's report?
No, thank y'all for your work.
All right, the motion would be to move the one account to collections. The one account is in the amount of $31.83, and adopt that bill adjustment policy and authorize your operator to. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda item 15 is the status of testing of the district's water supply for arsenic levels. Last month, y'all received the district's private testing results, which we did. Robert, help me out here.
I have it, hold on.
Thank you. It's like I have my notes, I can pull them out.
Yeah, so we have Eastex pulled 6.76 and 7.47. First one at the GST, second off of Fairgate. AB Labs did 6.97 at the GST and 6.95 at the Fairgate.
And the district did receive the TCEQ's sample. It has a 6.9. So a reminder, it was taken the same day as when your operator pulled their
Yeah.
samples. A copy of that has been sent.
And we are following up to see when they're going to do their next test, fourth quarter. So we don't have the set date. They haven't sent it to us yet. Of course, once we do, would the board like to do the same double testing again?
So,
And then we'll if TCEQ does decide to move back to annual, when I talked to my compliance department, they said that it would probably be second quarter before we get the fourth quarter data, review everything in the first quarter, have official. But we'll keep mirroring what they're doing. Assess and continue doing our own separate from TCEQ, or just.
I think we keep doing what we're doing until as a board decide to stop. I don't see any reason. The cost is significant, given the questions about it. I think it's double and triple checking it.
All right, so as of for the Q4, we want to go along with the same time TCEQ. Okay, just want to.
I would say I think we're going to continue to do what we've been doing until further notice.
The quarterly,
Yeah.
two labs.
Yep.
So we'll keep mirroring
Independent
TCEQ until they
Yes.
change, and then we'll be like, all right, April, and then we'll figure out the
When
exact.
TCEQ changes, let's talk. Let's have that discussion.
Yep.
No action item under agenda item 15. Agenda item 16, the Green Trails monthly report. We have a September report for you all. There was a slow month for the constable's office. That is great. We have a copy of it along with the beat activity report. No action items for y'all's consideration. But if you have any questions on the report, please let us know. We are happy to talk about the constable's office and get. Agenda item 17, we have already covered. Agenda item 18, which is the status of the installation of the hike and bike underpass on Fry Road by Wilfork Drainage District. We have not received an update.
I asked about it. I asked about it, and I heard it's still a thing, and he was going to check and get back to me. So I'll check again, and I'll let y'all know. Yeah.
Item 19, attorney's report. I don't have anything additional. Agenda item 20, potential litigation. We will go into closed session to talk about that. So before we move into closed session, consultants, is there anything you all would like to? Agenda? All right, Jason, please stay for the first part of the session. All right, so we are going into closed session pursuant to section 551.071 and section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code at 2:13. No, I don't think so.
Thank you, Alan. Appreciate your help.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Thank you both.